This is the heaviest podcast. Let's fucking go!
Yo, what the fuck is up? I'm sat here with Britain's most violent criminal, Charles Bronson.
Charles Bronson. I thought I looked like Joe Pesci in Moonwalker. I just thought, I thought I'd wear my cool guy sunglasses. I'm gonna take
brother.
I can't see
you
shit.
got the drip, bro.
I can't see shit,
brother. You need a couple of wet floor signs around you, dude, because you're dripping today, mate. You got the Gravedigger t-shirt on.
Oh,
you had the fucking cool guy shades.
I love this t-shirt. This is one of my favorites. Although when it takes a little bit too long to dry and it smells a bit weird. It smells a bit like that, but you can't smell it over the internet, so it's fine. But I'm wearing a hat to hide my bald head, and I thought I'm going to wear sunglasses to hide the fact that I barely have any eyes. I've become very conscious. I've become very conscious of my lack of eyes since we've started doing video.
Yeah, is it something to do with your brightness on your screen, or are you just
I've got a light that I use to try and brighten my face up, and it might be that. Let's try turning that. Let's put that down there. Has it helped? Can I have my eyes
no,
open?
Do you know what?
No,
now they're just harder to see.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My eyes just don't open enough, and I'm not sure. I never really realised it until we started filming ourselves. That it's an issue that I have. I could never be a model. It's a shame because that was a career that I really wanted to go into.
Yeah, that was it. You were right there when you were going into uni. You were like, IT supply guy, or you knocking about with Alexander McQueen, smoking fags,
I
doing
studied
gear.
catwalkology at university, and unfortunately, I graduated into a recession, so it never happened for me. Anyway, how you doing, man? You good?
Good, mate. I'm nice. I'm nice.
You're nice.
Well,
you are nice. I'd agree. I would agree.
I'm pretty nice. Yeah, I've been really nice. I haven't mugged anyone off.
Wow.
I've been
Well done.
being my best self. No, that's a complete lie. No, yeah. Life is nice, is what I meant to say.
Yeah, awesome.
Life's nice. Existence is nice. Confirmed, Gary, that we're having a child that is a boy, which is quite nice news.
Awesome. That's really cool. I mean, it would be cool either way, but it's really cool because I know you were keen on the idea of having a boy.
Anything would have been fine, but I've got to justify keeping hold of all these bits and bobs and like boy stuff. I've got fucking so much stuff, like comic books and figures,
all the action figures,
like loads of action figures that are just like. At this point, I'm sort of keeping hold of them a bit. It's the last 2 years. I probably should have got rid of them. Like they should have been gone. Luckily, they're just in a box. But now I can keep hold of them.
Now you've got a reason.
And maybe I get more. And now I can actively get more because
buy more toys and just say it's for the baby, Jolene. It's for the baby.
Yeah. Like I think it was last year or something. There was I kept seeing adverts for these like Wolverine claws for kids, and I wish I'd bought them. That would have been so good. Imagine if we'd have had them when we were kids.
Oh, mate, them and Hulk hands would just be incredible.
The Hulk hands. You get we had the Spidey one as well. Did you ever get the Spidey one? It just made too much mess.
Shoot silly string and
string.
Yeah, hated by mums up and down the country. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, mate, absolutely fucking brilliant.
Yeah. So that's good news. That's very good news. I actually realised that it's James Hetfield's birthday on the due date, which,
dude,
imagine.
Middle name Hetfield for the baby.
It's on the cards. I jokingly said it to Jolene. I said, how about James as a middle name? just under the radar.
Oh no, Hetfield.
She came back with Hetfield.
Oh no way!
It was jokingly said as a text, but I mean I've got receipts now.
James is, James is quite obvious. No disrespect to anybody called James, but it's quite obvious, So I think Hetfield, it's more. You can sort of people understand why it's there more readily. You wouldn't have to explain. Oh, my middle name's James. I'm known to James Hetfield. If your middle name's Hetfield, then everyone knows why, don't they? Straight away.
Yeah, I mean, I've never really heard it applied anywhere outside of a last name, so it does sound mental. But it also, I floated the idea of Wormwood the other day as a middle name. She wasn't having that.
Everybody's name was mental until someone was called it, though, right?
Yeah, I got
even James was a mental name at some point, and everyone's like, James, what? That's crazy. Like one of those modern names that people have these days. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean, my middle name's mental. My middle name's Eden.
Well, there you go. Like the Garden
and
of.
The Garden of. No one there's no one called Eden. That's just like a weird. And my parents aren't even like weed smoking weirdos, which is really odd.
Fair enough. I just had a weird moment of, I know what sounds like a good name for him. Let's go in the middle of Sonny and Taylor. Mine's brilliant. Mine's well boring. Mine's really obvious, but then it is also my dad's middle name, which I think is where it comes from.
Handed down to you.
Yes. Betrothed upon me. And I think one of my sister's kids have got a middle name William as well. I can't remember which one.
There's
a lot.
Very
of them,
nice.
So I don't know which one of them it is. It's the family middle name. That's a new. I didn't realize that was a thing. Don't think it is. I think my family invented the concept.
Maybe I'll be able to get Gary as a middle name. Imagine that. There's not enough Garys, is there?
Name. No, the name's dying out. Try and revive it.
There a stat like there wasn't any Garys born that year, or there hadn't been a Gary born for a while, or something like that.
I don't think there's any babies being called Gary for the last 2 or 3 years or something, which is it's criminal. No, because
if you are out there, just do
make yourself
Gary.
known. If you've got a kid and you called it Gary in the last 2 years, you need to speak up. We all need to know.
Yeah, you need to email the head of the census or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're kicking off.
admin@census.com. Send them an email.
Admin at.
Mate, before we started, you asked me if I had any opening banter, and I just dropped Nicola off in town, right? And I have Kerrang radio on in the car because, as far as radio stations go, it's probably the best one.
That's a good one. There's a lot worse.
Yeah, well, exactly. I could have been listening to, I don't know, Radio 2 or something. But they played a song from the new Bruce Dickinson solo album. And I tell you what, I don't understand why there is. It basically just sounds like Iron Maiden, but even shitter. What's the point? What's the fucking point? Why is this geezer gone? Oh, you know what? I need a break from Iron Maiden to go and make music that just sounds like not as good Iron Maiden. I don't get it. It's like such a busman's holiday. I don't understand why that's a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard it. I couldn't imagine. I mean, is it just not as good? Is there still 4 guitarists and stuff?
No, I think that it was really basic root chord progressions. There was no solo-y stuff. There was nothing of note apart from Bruce Dickinson going over the top of it. That was basically it. So I just didn't understand the point. I was so confused. Me and Nicola were just going why? Why has he done it? It was bizarre, man. I just wanted to share that. I was just dumbfounded by the whole thing.
It might just be it gets to the point where he knows he can shift it. He doesn't have to split it with anyone.
Yeah.
How many guitarists, how many people are in Iron Maiden these days that they'd have to pay,
Oh, God, I don't know, 12?
It's probably 14 members.
Yeah, and each one of them's got to bring their own personal physician because they're about 75 years old. They all need to have blood transfusions after every show, and they've got to bring orthopedic surgeons for their backs and that. It's an expensive job being in Iron Maiden.
Yeah, banging it out is probably a nice tax write-off or something. I don't know.
Do you reckon? I reckon that's what it is. I reckon he's got a fat tax bill for his private jet. So he's trying to find a way to write that off. He's claiming maybe the kids in his band are Make-A-Wish Foundation kids, and he's using it as a tax write-off. Okay, well, if that's true, then Fair play
He might
to
be
the
a
bloke.
genius.
He might be a genius. He might have cracked
He might
the
be a
code.
straight genius.
You don't even know. Oh dear. That's the first and last time we'll ever discuss anything related to Iron Maiden on this podcast because I think they are absolutely rubbish. Just saying.
Yeah,
Just throwing it out there.
I had a fleeting sort of moment with Iron Maiden. Me and my friend group did when we were youngsters. When we were, you just listen to Metallica you just listen to so much Metallica that you think you should also just listen to Iron Maiden for a bit, just to go and see what it's like before you come back and just listen to the Black Album 14 more times together.
You should have done Slayer, really, mate. That would have been probably a better move.
I probably should have, yeah. But we did a bit of Maiden, and there was like an EP came out. I can't remember what it was. It might be called The Journeyman. It was an EP. It might be called
Is it like 45 minutes long rather than an hour and 25?
It came in a nice little red box. I might actually be in there. I can literally see it right now. It's in a clear storage box.
Own some Iron Maiden music.
Yeah, I do. It's right down there, and it came with a CD and a sweatband. And it was in that, that moment in time where you were all over a sweatband.
Oh, the sweatband. You wear like 3 up your arm. Yeah, mate, absolutely. All about
when the sweatband were a rockin', this EP came out, and me and a couple of the guys had it, and we always just look back on that week and call it Maiden Week because we were well into Maiden for about a week.
It lasted a week of just being hella into Maiden. I love it.
I remember I bought the Live at Donington album because that was quite, because they got so many fucking albums. It was quite like to get into them at that age as well. Before you were really any good or had a proper grasp on downloading music, you could only really consume things in one album or an album CDs, that your mate had. Yeah. Or you'd all sort of go out and one of you would buy one of you buy the other, one of you buy the other, because CDs were like 15 quid or whatever.
Yeah, right. It's 20
you
quid.
You could just go out and buy 2-3 CDs on a whim. So we sort of hedged our bets and all bought a few different ones. Got into it a bit, but never really stuck.
Wow. Didn't realise you were a closet Maiden fan, son. Fair play.
Mate, you ask Jace about Maiden Week, mate.
I will do. Next time I see him, I'm going to ask him all about Maiden Week. I can't wait. Oh dear, we're actually going to talk about some good music though this week. Just so everyone's worried. Everyone's worried we've lost our marbles. We're just going to talk about classic rock, heavy metal, whatever you want to call it.
And what a band we've got to talk about, Gary. One of the show favourites. Just a band that I think we talked about this band in a very small capacity on the very first podcast we did, right?
Yeah, I think we did.
We talked about Hartford County Misery.
Yeah.
A little bit on the very, very first podcast we did. That would have been years before any UK publication had ever even heard of Boundaries because they weren't fucking cool.
Because we have our fingers
way ahead of the
mate.
curve, Gary.
This is the sixth one, right? This is the 6th release. So we're talking about Boundaries, in case you hadn't figured it out. 5-piece metalcore band from Hartford, Connecticut. The album's called Death is Little More. Comes out on the 29th through 3 Dot. This is the 6th Boundaries release we'll be talking about on the show. So yeah, like you say, Hartford County Misery, the Spring Demonstration, we talked about that, My Body in Bloom, Your Receding Warmth, and then also 2022's Bury in Brightness. And to be honest, we will continue to talk about every Boundaries release. It's a sweet relief of Boundaries release. Every time they're going to release something new, we're going to talk about it because this band fucking rule, and they continue to fucking rule. And I'm quite happy to just say now they're always going to rule. I feel it in my bones.
I can feel it.
This and Chamber are kind of in a straight sort of knife fight for who's the best of this revivalist metalcore scene. And I know we've talked about it a few times, how we've kind of starting to get less patience for it as a thing. We're getting a bit to the sort of saturation point, which is like when we last time we said that on the show, the week after that Killing Them Softly album came out, and we were both like, yeah, this album
it's so sick.
It's brilliant. Absolute fucking liars. But it is getting to a bit to that point. But I don't count Boundaries in there because they're too good anymore. They're too good now. You can't really consider them on the do they make me feel like I'm 22 again? Do they remind me of my teenage years?
Yeah.
Like they've just completely leapfrogged that as an idea.
So like we sort of use the term revivalist metalcore quite a lot, and when I was like writing like my thoughts about this record, like I don't know if anyone else uses this term, but this is what I'm calling it from now on. I'm calling it era worship, because this is what this is. This is era worship. This isn't just revivalist metalcore. This is so many aspects of those things that we loved, but they're all just different. Like the different bands that are coming through on this are even different to the ones that were coming through previously, but it's all from that same era. It's still that golden age, but it's not as sort of formulaic. It's, these guys are they're the bollocks, right? They're
just the fucking nuts. Like, I'd absolutely agree with what you're saying about era worship. Like, you listen to it and you hear all of their favorite bands are the same favorite bands that we have, the bands that we grew up on: Killswitch, Bleeding Through, but then like Under Oath, your Norma Jeans and your Chariots, and all of these kind of different scenes that back in the day were like completely like miles apart from each other. Now in the kind of era of like the internet and the heavy music not being quite as tribal as it used to be, it's all kind of one thing, and Boundaries are just taking from all of these different areas and just putting together something which is incredible, as opposed to a lot of bands who just kind of do revivalist metalcore because it's a sort of fast track to getting internet clout. But Boundaries are doing it because they're just worshipping their heroes and worshipping the scenes and the music that they grew up on, and you can't help but just feel it with them when you're there, when you're listening to these records. And it's particularly this record, like, I feel like this record kind of draws on a wider scope of ideas, and it kind of, the parts of the music that exhibit a more aggressive trait are more aggressive than they used to be, and the melodious parts are vastly more I'm trying to say a way of saying the heavier bits are heavier and the melodic bits are more melodic without actually saying it, but it is fucking true, isn't it? It is fucking true.
It's absolutely true here. They've, we've got peaks at this. We got there was a big lean into this on like certain tracks on the last record, but now it's very much more ingrained in the DNA of the thing, which I think is a really brilliant shift. Like, there, it's still this golden era sort of worship throughout, but it's less sort of confined to one track, and I think it's fucking brilliant. They've sort of solidified their own sound even more, but at the same time drawn on more influences, which is such a brilliant evolution, like finding themselves. Like, they're these people, they're not a band that just plays music from that era. They wrap themselves around it and they use the best bits of that, but they still have so much, like, even in their songwriting, right? They don't, there's they've included some choruses and some singing, like way more than the previous records, but even down to their songwriting, like they keep you wanting more. They don't necessarily like, easily erased. We'll get to that properly in a bit.
Yeah,
but but that chorus happens twice. Basically, there's only one other point on the record where you get that thing twice.
The chorus,
they still have like a really sort of explosive and erratic and visceral like attack at metalcore. Like, it's still very much Boundaries, but these flavors that pop in, they totally add. They totally add.
I mean, the thing is like, often a lot of bands decide that, if we inject melody into our sound, it's going to get us wider appeal, and it almost feels like Boundaries have gone, all right, we'll inject melody into our sound, but we're doing it on our own fucking terms. Like, we're not going to compromise our vision of what our band is just to try and get bigger by throwing in choruses and doing more melody. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it in a really obtuse and weird way, and we're going to tease the fuck out of you by doing one chorus or just throwing in like a random like, we're going to start a song with a massive sing-along, and then the rest of the song's just going to be heavy as fucking balls and fuck a lot of you. And like, okay, so there's your melody. So now we can come on and support, I don't know, like Silverstein next time they go on tour or something like that. Like, it's just this way that they come at it and how they don't like every time we talk about stuff like this, I always bring up See You Space Cowboy, and I feel bad, but See You Space Cowboy really had to sort of compromise what made me initially love them, to kind of find a bigger audience. And now, you know, I actually listened to a couple of the singles from their new record, and I am actually quite into the idea of this sort of mathcore meets Panic the Disco kind of vibe that they've got going on. But it does feel like they kind of started doing what they're doing quite cynically, and then they've sort of figured it out. Whereas Boundaries are just like, no, man, we're just going to chuck in a little bit of melody here and there. It's like a sort of it does really kind of make me think of that really good golden period in Thunder Oath, where like To Find the Great Line, Lost in the Sound of Separation, where they did the sort of same thing where, you know, we've got Aaron Gillespie in the band and he's got an incredible voice, but we're not going to give you repeated choruses. No, we're just going to give you one really massive melodic section in this song, and you're going to fucking love it and really wish it came back, but it's not going to. And you're just going to have to learn to deal with it.
And you're just going to have to learn to listen to the whole fucking thing again to get it again.
Exactly.
Like it's
exactly.
It's genius.
It's so cool.
It keeps you wanting this thing, man. I'm absolutely in love with it. I love that it's been a really cool sort of gradual evolution for them as well, hasn't it? Like, you know, there was like a big step into Your Receding Warmth, the first full length. We were like, oh, there's some like fucking like proper like Azalea Dying-y riffs, and they were sort of the touch points from that. And then, you know, we had like a bit of an Underoath step up, Misery Signals vibe on the last record, and then this record, my guy, dude, there's fucking like the beginning of Curse to Remember. That vocal take is one of my favorite things on the record, and that is pure Atreyu. It's pure Atreyu,
so
bro.
Atreyu,
it's
isn't it?
So Atreyu,
so
and it's got this little
Atreyu.
like movement in the vocal that is just, it's the purest Atreyu, and I love it so much. But it doesn't happen again. It doesn't. You don't get served that again, and it winds me up, but makes me love it more at the same time, because I can't like wait to listen to it again.
I've just got like, we learn to talk about it. Yeah, man, it's so, you're right, man. Atreyu as fuck, and I love it. Like, this is just, I think one of the things that just completely floored me the first time I listened to this record, and I think you probably had the same effect, was like Petals from a Stem, when they just go pure fucking grind for 45 seconds. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's so cool.
It's definitely, it's the heaviest piece of music they've written. In it.
It's so fucking good. I was fucking
it's track 3. It's track 3, and it's
the way it rolls into it from the track before. Like, there's a bit where he's like, I've got loads of like capitalized bits of notes which are just fucking sick vocals and sick lyrics, but that specific one where it's like, so I'm gonna cut your head off, you stupid motherfucker, and then it goes into the next song and he just goes like finishes the word in the next song. It's so fucking brilliant. Oh, it's absolutely incredible. I love it so much.
Yeah, man. This thing, it opens like all the things that made you love Boundaries previously. Like, they are like they do some of the best like mosh calls going, don't they? They're like the call outs, like the standout things. Like the first track's got like 2 in it that are both brilliant, but like The World Is Evil and I Am the Devil, like that's the fucking
that's the one. The World Is Evil and I Am the Devil, and like goes really guttural when he does the I Am the Devil. Like, honestly, I think Matt McDougall is probably my favorite vocalist in like the metalcore.
He's the man.
He's the
fucking
once upon
man.
a time it would have been like, it's Matt versus Trav, but like Trav's kind of dropped off the radar a little bit, so now it's Matt. Matt McDougall is just, he's just the fucking king. He's so good. And then you've got bollocks, I can't remember the drummer's name. All I can think of is that he looks bare like Nathan Fielder. He's like his there's 3 of
Tim. His name is
Tim. 3 of the 4 of the others
Tim
do
Sullivan.
like melodic vocals, but like Tim the drummer, his range is mental. Like, he's got so much range on that voice.
The chorus, we got to talk about it. Easily Erased, right?
About Easily Erased, right?
Easily Erased. That chorus is the best chorus. That's the best chorus I've heard in a long time.
It's
the best thing.
exceptional.
It's like, I think it might be beating anything off of the Dying Wish record, because when we're talking about like this done to a high caliber, like that's the sort of main thing that sticks in my mind is that Dying Wish record. And I'm getting goosebumps every time I hear that fucking chorus, and they know it's so good, right? I would love to talk to them about how they came to like putting this song together, because it's so fucking good that they put it in like the first. It's there. You're there within like 10 seconds, right? And then it's straight there, and then it comes back again later.
You get it, they isolate it, so it's literally just the vocal, and it just makes your hair stand up on end.
Yeah,
it's so good. It's so fucking
good,
cool.
Dude.
Like
I have been singing that in my office, like with my headphones on, and I would love to hear, like, love to see my neighbour's face, because I'm pretty sure that she works in the room opposite sometimes. Sometimes I hear her and like, oh mate, it's the best thing. It's my favourite thing.
It's so good, man. I do it. I have my headphones on, and my headphones have got pretty good like noise cancellation, and I am probably belting it. I'd love to hear how flat I sound when I do it. It'd probably be absolutely embarrassing, but it would be funny to hear. But like, that's honestly, I reckon I've listened to that song enough times for it to be number one on my Spotify Wrapped already, and it's like the end of March. Like, that song's fucking impeccable.
It deserves awards. I don't know what awards there are for chorus of the year, but there should be. It's there. It's the fucking, it's the bollocks. And yeah, it just makes me love this record so much.
Yeah, man.
We'll talk about it now, because I'm talking about Easily Erased. I think it might be too long, this record. I think the only possible negative thing that I could ever say about this record is I think it's got too many tracks, and I think that the final track suffers a bit because it's not as brilliant as final tracks that they've done before. They've got a track record for creating phenomenal final tracks, and the last track on Your Receding Warmth was that spoken track, and that was just so powerful. And then
it's really poetic, isn't it?
Yeah, and then on Burying Brightness, you had that really cool track that like faded out, and then you had all that crazy stuff, and then you had the secret track, which is like one of the sickest moves. Like, that's a sick move that I still haven't heard anyone else do that for a while. Like, I mean, I don't think anything we've listened to has picked up on that and taken it with them. Like, it would have been cool if they like maybe did that again. I think that this is literally the only negative about the record. I reckon that track should be cut, and you should put Easily Erased. I think Easily Erased should be the final track, because if it just changes the energy when you listen to it, to end on such a powerful high like that, it would be, for my like money, the only way that they could better like step up from the final tracks that they've sort of this sort of thing that they've written themselves into a corner, like with finishing albums. And I reckon if you pop Easily Erased at the end and you get rid of Inhale the Grief, I think it's solidifying the record a bit more.
Yeah. I do know what you mean. Like, I do really love. There's that bit in Inhale the Grief where he's like, "I feel like a fuck up," which is really cool. Just that delivery of that, the way he screams that is really cool. But I do know what you mean. Like, historically, their albums do finish on a really like crazy crescendo. Like, you're right, that I can just hear like the For Those Departed, that like on the last track of Your Receding Warmth, like,
Dear or Otherwise.
I can just hear it in my head. Like, you're right, and there is a moment where in Face the Blade where you get a bit of that sort of that narrative Matt McDougall spoken word vocal style on this record, and it is really cool the way that he does that. And he does have a very distinct voice. Like, he could if he wasn't in like one of the best metalcore bands going, he could probably have a pretty good career like narrating TV programs or something. But, there's so much banging shit on this record, man. Like, Curse to Remember has that like like, you remember I think we had a song back when we were in a band that had, no, it's Pale Like Lingers, isn't it? Sorry, that's got that like,
Mate,
like over the breakdown.
That's got me right in like the old school August Burns Reds.
Yeah.
That has got that era, like
Yeah.
old Texas in July,
Yeah.
August Burns Reds, like
Messengers
energy.
era of August Burns Red, and it's properly
that
got
is that. It's
and then you
fucking
also
brilliant.
get Lucky from Alpha Wolf on that track, and he's got a really good, because he's got quite a different style of voice. There's like a
Very
flamesy like lead part in that track as well that sounds really cool. Like, that's a really fucking sick track. There's the title track is a fucking banger. It's got a guitar solo in it, which is very cool. It's kind of played in a weird way, but it is you can't deny it's a guitar solo. And this humanity dissected with a fucking hatchet as a lyric is like incredible. Like there's one of the fucking best things as well is Blood Soaked Salvation, when like Matt Honeycutt basically takes over boundaries for like a song. Like when as soon as he pops up, it's like, right, this is my band now. You guys are basically just Kubla Khan, but you haven't been to the gym as much. And I just love the way that he does that.
And that bit that he comes in on, it's God held to the ground and bludgeoned, beaten to fucking death. It's so crazy, dude. And God damn. The lyrics on that bit is to stand above my Lord with hands covered in blood-soaked salvation. Oh, fucking hell.
It's filth, yeah.
So the whole thing of that is that there's like a Dante's Inferno like influence on this. I played the PlayStation game of Dante's Inferno once. It was fucking sick. It was so sick. But fuck knows what else happens. Geezer just goes down a load of levels of hell, and
is it the game's like one of the sort of roguelike games where you have to like play the same bit over and over again and learn how to beat it, isn't it?
Maybe, I don't know. It was quite hard. I think it was sort of a midpoint between like a God of War / Devil May Cry. I was right in the pocket for it. It was banging, fucking absolute blinder of a game. But as far as it's sort of the narrative of that, I fuck knows. But I'm sure it's very cool. It's about all the layers of hell, going through different layers of hell, representing different things, and that's what I reckon it is overall. Dante's Inferno.
Absolutely.
That's a summary.
But I think Death is Little More is a quote from it, isn't it? It's from quote from Dante's Inferno. Basically, like, if your life sucks, then dying isn't really that much.
Yeah,
a big thing. It's just a slight step further. It's quite a dark concept, quite a bleak concept, really. But
mate, what about the bit in fucking Blame's Burden where it goes this bit that like, what in the Nintendo Core was that?
It's like Take to the Skies era, Enter Shikari, isn't it? Yeah, it's so fucking good. And then you get matey from Invent Animate comes in with the like really like
gorgeous.
My hand. It's so like
fantastic,
serene and just sort of glacial, and it works so well in the song. The way that it's like, you know, they never stick on an idea for very long. They've got quite an ADHD approach to songwriting, but it's just there just the perfect amount of time, and it just it's fucking brilliant. It's so good.
They've got a knack for like their songwriting is like do like a bit of era worship, then they go really hard, and then they go into a breakdown. That's kind of what they do quite often, and it's fucking brilliant. It's everything you want. It's not overplayed. It's not these like bloated long tracks. Like everything sort of still keeps down there, and you know it's mostly sort of 3 minutes and under. They're these just little short, sharp, absolute bangers, and
it's absolutely spot on. Like.
It's cracking.
Aside from what you were saying about like maybe we could tweak the structure of it a little bit, I just think this album's fucking absolutely brilliant. Like Your Receding Warmth is always going to have a bit of a special place in my heart, just because it was like in our early days of doing the podcast, and their press guy really loved us. I remember he literally like specifically emailed us to say, I've got this record that I reckon you guys should check out. And we're like, Boundaries? We fucking love Boundaries. Are you serious? And we had it like 6 months before it came out or something ridiculous, didn't we? And so it's always really going to be like a special record for me. But I think on a kind of as objectively as you can be, this is definitely Boundaries' best record. Like they're making these really nice incremental improvements in what they're doing. And I really think that they're hugely underrated, but it's kind of getting to the point where they are still, I'd still say they're definitely underrated, but the dearth between what I think they are and what they are is definitely closing. and more people are kind of getting on board with it, and I'm really glad about that. And I'm going to go see him next week, and I can't fucking wait. I've been so desperate to go check out this band live, and I'm actually finally going to get a chance to. I'm fucking psyched. Yeah,
dude, I'm so stoked for you. It's a shame I'm literally going to London to go to a different thing on the same day.
Yeah, it's annoying, isn't it? And then like, because there's a Brighton date on the tour, which we would have normally gone to that, but I'm in Japan, so it's like I've got to go to the London one because it's the only one that happens before I go away. So it just hasn't really like panned out, which is a shame. But I can't wait, man. I'm fucking
you're gonna have a great time, mate.
Yeah,
you're gonna have a great time.
Yeah,
this thing is fucking fantastic.
Wicked. Absolutely wicked.
A band that we adore, evolving in a really positive, brilliant way, still sort of refining what they are, like sort of what Boundaries is more solid now than ever, and it's fucking exciting, explosive, vicious, brilliant fucking music that like it's just Heavyist mosh fodder. This is it's just
absolutely
it's gorgeous, mate.
This is just absolutely in the pocket for what we're all about. Music that we love, and it's fucking incredible. Yeah, there are records called Death Is Little More. It's by the band Boundaries. Comes out on Friday. You're all going to listen to it, but just in case you weren't, make sure you fucking do. Otherwise, you're dead to me. Next on the agenda, quite a different vibe. The band are called Frail Body. They're a 3-piece screamo post-hardcore band from Rockford, Illinois. This is their second full-length record. It's called Artificial Bouquet, and it comes out on Friday the 29th of March through Death Wish. So their last record, A Brief Memoriam, is absolutely fucking brilliant. I don't know how much I absolutely love that album. That's one of the like best examples of this modern kind of screamo post-hardcore sound that there probably is. Like I can't off the top of my head think of another band who are in spitting distance of Frail Body. To be honest with you, they're fucking amazing at it.
Yeah,
maybe Infinite Island.
This has been fucking fantastic. I don't think I must have listened to the last record, but I can't fucking remember it. But I've had a lot of fun listening to this. The energy levels on this record are off the fucking chain, mate. Like
For sure.
The record starts at like where a lot of like genres climax. Like it literally starts at 10. It's like I've listened to post black metal records that take 45 minutes to get there. You know? like they're just at 11 before they've started. It's fucking fantastic,
mate. That is so true. Like the thing is, this is a really dynamic record, and they're really good at like ebbing and flowing their sound and like having these really nice chilled moments that build back up into like extremity, but they just decide like fuck it, we're just going to jump straight at you with literally everything we've got. Blast beats, that fucking crazy vocal that's like sounds like a wounded pterodactyl. Like it's fucking amazing. Like kind of reminds me of George Clark a bit, like in the earlier days of Death Heaven when they're not the Amazing Spaces George Clark son. I know what you were thinking.
What has he put a bungalow in?
Yeah, he's built a 3-bedroom house in a shed. No, George Clark from Death Heaven in the early days when he was literally just kind of squawking. Like he's got a similar kind of vibe to that, but it's just everything just kind of flies at you. Blast beats, it's just and there's only 3 of them, and they make such a massive sound from the 3 guys, and they're just so like in control. It's amazing how they can be so in control of the mood of what's going on while their music sounds so out of control. Like I don't know how you go about like holding on to that, because I can imagine you get into a practice space, you're writing a song, you're just like fuck it, let's just fucking do it. Like I can imagine it's really hard to go right now. We should probably simmer it down and just I just be like, nah, fuck it, let's just keep going. But like their like composure around what they do is incredible, and the way that they can ebb and flow what goes on in their songs is just second to none. And this album is just fucking wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, they really, really harness the energy in a brilliant way.
Yeah,
like
man.
They're just like, I don't know, they're like airbenders. They're like music benders. It's fucking fantastic. Like I love I love the bass in this record,
Yeah,
which
dude.
isn't something that you usually would go, oh, it's not one of the takeaways from a screamo record, usually, is it?
It's not. You're right. It's
Sometimes they might not even have one. Like,
yeah, quite often they won't have one. Quite often they don't have microphones for the vocals. But like, this is the tone of it is just so like thick and chunky.
Yeah,
and, like, you always get it. Like I think 3-pieces give bassists more room to sort of experiment with creating a really like distinct sound. And the basis of Frail Body is obviously really dialed in. Like, I'm going to make sure that what I do here, it really like adds something to what's going on, and it's not just like a low thud at the bottom end just to fill out the sonic sound. He's really like considered it, and like it feels like everybody has. Like, there's a lot really lovely lead parts. There's some moments where I can't think which song it is off the top of my head, but there's a moment where it kind of decays down to just bass and like his really fast pulsing drums.
Critique programming. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's like one of the coolest parts of the record, because you've had this absolute mania. It's sort of the eye of the storm, isn't it? And it's just like drums and bass, and the bass is just like creating this really just cool, like stripped back groove. And like, while I can only assume a defibrillator is being applied to the other people in the band, like it's awesome. Like,
yeah, dude, absolutely.
I love the track Birth, right? I feel like it sounds like the first Alexis album, like played at 3 times speed. Like, and that's kind of a bit of a theme here. I feel like Monolith sounds like a 2013's like melodic hardcore band played at 3 times speed as well. There's some. I wonder if they just write songs and then they just play it like at triple speed.
They just right now. This is the tempo. Now we're just going to add 100 BPM, record it at that speed. All right, go for it. Like, absolutely, man. Like, it is really just fucking flying at you. Like, I love how wild it is. I love how
unhinged, isn't it?
Unhinged, and exactly, and just visceral. And it just really feels like everything that happens in this record comes from like deep in their chest. Like, it feels like a cathartic exercise to actually write and produce and make this music for this band. Like, it really feels like, like they, there's a lot of shit. Like, I think if you read into it, like, the singer lost his mum while they were recording the last record, and like he's been through quite a lot, and it really feels like this band is basically like keeping him with us and keeping him having a reason to exist. And you feel that intensity and that passion and that like just that want to just have something to channel all of his like worries and fears into. It's so emotionally powerful, which is like, might sound mental if you showed it to somebody else and it just sounds fucking wild. But like, I as a student of like the style of music, I really feel it. Like the song Horizon Line, like I read the press. Did you read the press release around the song Horizon Line? Like, it kind of broke my heart, to be honest, because it was about how this Lowell was the guitarist vocalist. His mum was like, she was stage 4 cancer, and they knew that she didn't have much longer, and he went out on tour with Frail Body, and she passed away while he was out on tour. And he's like, I made the choice to go out on tour, and now I have to kind of live with that decision for the rest of my life. And that song is fucking incredible. And then when you know that kind of story behind it, and the gut-wrenching emotion that must feel to have that and to feel that for the rest of your life, I'm getting a bit fucking like a bit steamed up just thinking about it, to be honest with you. But like, just knowing that that's what's gone into that, so that level of sort of personal emotion, it makes me think of like Stage 4 by Touche Amore, when it's like just one of the most emotionally devastating albums you'll ever hear. And there's a lot of that energy that you get from this Frail Body record too. Like, it's really, really fucking powerful. And then also it makes me think of the Satellite Years by Hopesful, which is a fucking massive compliment as far as I'm concerned. Like, it's got that similar like spacey energy, but just sort of channeled into these wild frenzied attacks. Like, it's fucking awesome, this record. I think it's really, really, really cool.
Yeah, this is such brilliant sort of unbridled energy. So
Yeah.
last thing that sort of was on this sort of level that I listened to was that agriculture record. Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, definitely.
they got like imagine that'd be a great tour, wouldn't it? You it'd be like going to see like 6 bands sped up, agriculture, Frail Body. That'd be a banger.
We like,
that'd be
who was
absolute
it?
banger.
Who was it? Was it Wyatt who said that they listened to podcasts on 2 times speed?
I think
That must be what it's like. You go to see a show like Agriculture and Frail Body. It's like, yeah, go into an all dayer at 5 times speed.
just like just macro dosing screamo.
Mate, people need to start pulling these quotes from you out and making them taglines, putting them on CDs, man.
Macro dosing screamo, get out there.
Macro dosing screamo, that's gold. That's absolute gold, mate. Incredible. Yeah, this honestly, I think there's a lot of homies who really dig the modern screamo scene, and like Frail Body, like the Frail Body are just the top of the pile, and this is another record that just proves why. This is just a fucking awesome piece of work. Yeah, Artificial Bouquet by Frail Body, out on Friday. Fucking wonderful.
Brilliant name as well.
Oh, it's fucking
fantastic,
cool, isn't it?
Yeah,
really cool, and the art's really lovely as well. Like, it's sort of abstract, but it's really, really cool. Yeah,
they're playing here really soon, but I can't go to the bloody gigs.
No, I can't either. They're doing Roadburn, and I think they're coming over and doing a few shows around the time that they're doing Roadburn.
There's a Brighton date that would be fucking brilliant, but yeah, I'm away, which sucks.
Bummer.
Mate, the last record.
Yeah.
Monolith.
Oh yeah. Band Monolith, 4-piece hardcore band from Devon in the UK. The album's called Hornet's Nest, and it actually came out last week on the 22nd of March. I think it was released independently. Yeah, I was actually already aware of this band. Their last record, No Saint, No Solace, I checked it out because it's got Alex from Black Tongue on one of the tracks, and I think he shared it onto his Instagram, and I listened to it, and like it's quite sort of chunky tech metal-y, kind of bit more sugary, a bit Gajira-y. And then when you sent me over this and I put it on, I had to double check that they were the same band and it wasn't just 2 bands with the same name, because this is like really different to that vibe. But this is so much cooler than that vibe. Like that tech metal-y kind of heavy barrel sort of vibe is cool, but this is just on a fucking another level, mate. This is incredible.
Yeah. This is fucking absolutely sick. This is a really cool achievement, you know, like relatively small band from the UK, but like the sort of influences and the reference points are like bands that are like super groups, like fucking like End is a big one, right, for this record.
Yeah,
End
definitely.
Is a big one for this record. If you enjoy End, then you're gonna fucking love this. And you know, if you look at what End do, it's everything brilliant all the time. Like it's a melding of brilliant, ferocious genres into one sort of thing. And these guys are very much sort of taking that similar approach. But then there's some really cool additional sort of moments throughout the record. Like there's a lot of sort of death metal influences that come in and add another dimension. It goes really fucking hard, this record. And there is a real commitment to fucking buckets and buckets of groove. Like this thing it's absolutely spewing blood and guts. It's so bloody hard.
It is, mate. It's got like absolutely zero chill. Like there's one moment on the record where it kind of chills out, but they give you like a vocal sample of like a police report that's really horrible over the top of it, so you can't even like chill while that's happening, because when you're not being punished by the riffs, you're being made to feel really uneasy by the narrative about like dead bodies and shit. Like, it's fucking brilliant. But like this is just a band who I listen to this and I just feel like, why are we not more aware of this band on the UK scene? Like, do you know, like when we talked about Joanna Ray from Birmingham, and we're just like, fuck me, like, wow, this band are amazing. Where have they been hiding? But it kind of makes me feel like it's good to know that there's still like local scene, like bands on a local level who are still fucking incredible, because you kind of think like most bands on a local level who are worth knowing about because of the internet you already do, but actually there's fucking loads of bands out in the country who are fucking killing it that you don't know about yet. thank God, because that's like one of the best things about doing what we do here on the podcast and just being into heavy music is discovering something new and being like, bloody hell, this is. And if you look on their Spotify bio, it says that this is one of 3 releases that they're doing in 2024. So
holy shit!
Like, save some awesome for everybody else, boys. Fuck it.
Yeah, man. The mushes per minute are off the fucking chart. Yeah. They're teetering on dangerous. Like, this is it's fucking fantastic. There's so much sort of grind and power violence, this sort of like nailsy, furious, rumbling energy throughout. It just like sounds like 25 fucking boulders rolling down a hill. It's fucking awesome. And one of the things I really like about it is there's sort of a lot of parallels with like the gritty texture of like certain records that we've really enjoyed. Like, this is it's so gritty and like nasty, and it's like forcibly like that, you know. It's almost sort of dulls the cohesion of the vocals sometimes to deliver this really sort of caustic, horrible feeling, which is really, really cool. Like, it almost buries some of the vocal performance, but I think it adds to like the intensity and the griminess of it all. Like, you just feel like it's just like sandpaper, but I love it. Dude. Like, it's like picking a scab, you know? Like,
it does have fucking... like, you're right. It has that feel like you kind of dug it up out of the earth. Rather, it's not like a really nice, clean, pristine, modern record. It just has much more of a sort of scuzz, like, older. Yeah, definitely. It's got that sort of, what's the word? Patina. You know, it's got that kind of like
patina.
It's got that sort of patina to it. Like, I just think this is fucking banging, and it's like just over 20 minutes long. I mean, it sounds like it's going to be a part of a series, but just as it sort of exists as a snapshot, it's just like an absolute whirlwind of riffs, and it's fucking great fun. And I defy you to not want to just hit play again as soon as it's finished. You know what I mean? Like, it's really exciting.
I love it's all the track titles are all caps, which is great.
All caps.
Just like, if something is written in all caps, it's immediately harder than something that isn't written in capitals.
So true.
It's like, that's just the rules, man. Like, and there's some brilliant track titles as well, like Pyre of Tusks, Bone Farmer. Like,
Bone Farmer is
they're my 2 favorite. They are fucking brilliant. This record goes hard as hell. It's a really cool discovery. If you enjoyed, like, say, like the Burner record last year, like similar approach to like a huge sort of chaotic blender of brilliant violence, like, there's no way you're not going to like this Monolith record. This is a fucking fantastic caliber. Yeah,
I could definitely see like Burner and Monolith playing shows together. I could see
for sure
Mastiff and Monolith doing shows together. I could see like Grief Ritual and Harriet. Those all that sort of UK scene that we've got going on at the moment of like HM2 hardcore, but with that like extra level of something coming in from outside. Like, Monolith are on a par, which is weird that they're like that they've not kind of been discovered yet. You know what I mean? Like, they're still kind of working on quite a lower level. It's a shame because they're absolutely fucking incredible.
Yeah, it's a sick fucking record.
Yeah, dude. Hornet's Nest by Monolith, fucking awesome.
Hell yeah, brother!
What a bag of riffs! What a bag of riffs,
mate!
Oh,
very different records. Everything fucking kicking ass. I'm so happy with that Boundaries record, man. I'm really like looking forward to listening to it post podcast, because like when you're listening to it, you're always like trying to think of like, oh, should I make notes, blah blah blah. You know, have I written enough things to say? Like, now I can like fully just bathe in it. Like, I know it's going to be the first thing I put on when I wake up Friday morning.
Absolutely. I found it hard to write notes because I find myself with my arms in the air going like this a lot while I'm listening to it. Like, when the breakdown comes in, it's like it's really hard to resist just like bouncing to those breakdowns. So yeah, I did find it hard to get the notes down, but to be honest, once I started tapping, it all just flowed out, because it's just an incredible record that just makes me inspired to be a heavy music fan. And it's a fucking great week. It's a fucking great week, dudes. Next week's show, we're not quite sure what we're going to do yet. We're still hammering it out, but we'll be here and we'll talk about some amazing riffs, I'm sure. But we'll figure it out. Until then,
I think
we'll
we've got a guest. We've got some cool riffs. We've got some good shit. It's going to be a fun one. There's beautiful music all the way.
Always.
Right, that was lovely. Thank you so much for listening or watching. Maybe you've had a look at us. Hello, thank you. Love you. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
We'll see you then. Bye.